Okay, so this video is long enough, and I understand that, but I just realized I made a major mistake in it. That when I positioned my list items, I shouldn't be doing it here because this is on the list item itself. I should be doing it on the unordered list. So let's copy that. And the unordered list is the thing that's positioned absolute list item, and should be doing it there. Save it there. Let's make sure I didn't screw anything up. Yeah, everything still looks good. It works, and that kind of shows you how flexible that CSS and HTML are. But for posterity's sake, I shouldn't be positioning the list items so that they float outside of the unordered list. I should be just positioning the unordered list according to the way that I wrote this. But there you go, and you might want to wind up playing it some more with this. Yeah, see, that looks much better in the old versions of Internet Explorer. But anyway, again, thank you for watching. Hello there. Today's video is on CSS. I'm going to make a drop-down menu. So here's a blank page. Here it is in HTML and CSS. So let's go ahead and get started with a link tag. Link rel equals style sheet, type equals text slash CSS, href equals style dot CSS, close the quote, close the bracket, save that, go over here and do a body of background blue. Make sure that works. Yep, good. Our CSS is functional. So let's go ahead and start building that menu. Let's go into the body tag. Now I'm supposed to use the nav tags here and things like that for semantic HTML, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want the video to be 30 minutes long. So unordered list ID equals, let's call it drop down menu, close quote, close bracket, close the unordered list. Let's put a couple of list items in here with li, and then close the li. In there we're going to stick href, so we'll do a href equals open quote, and we'll stick a pound sign or hashtag to save its location, close quote, close bracket, /a to close out the hyperlink. In between there I'm going to type in physical. How about that? That's a layer 1 thing, right? And we're going to make a multi-layer list anyway, so we'll copy that and let's put it in there, about 4 of them in there. So whoops, there's our page. That's what it looks like, but it's not quite right, so we're going to do drop down menu. Oh, I need to put a hashtag in front of that on the CSS. And we're going to do a display. Actually, we're going to do an li. Let greater than sign li. And display inline block, semicolon, save, refresh. Yeah, that's about right. Let's do a drop down menu hyperlink with a color, inherit, and a text decoration of none. That's going to turn it black and get rid of the underlines, although we never really specified black, so we're going to specify it here. This is going to this greater than sign affects only the list items in the first layer because it has to be a direct descendant of drop down menu, and I'm going to want this to affect all list items. So I'm going to make another line here with it's going to look the same, except it's not going to have that greater than sign. Drop down menu li, or it'll look similar. We're going to do a color. I've already said I want it to be color of black. we're going to do a background of, let's go for yellow. That should be yellow. Yep. I want to do a bit of padding on this guy with, you know, say 1 pix margin of the top and the bottom. I want no margin, but on the left and right I want like you know, 5 pixels margin. So we'll save that. That should space it out a little bit. We need a minimum width as well for all these list items. So width of say 100 pix. You may want to go a little larger, say 150 pix, but have a really small screen. The text is not aligned properly in there. So let's put text align of 0 pix. Oh wait, 0 pix. What am I doing? Center. That should center the text in the box. Yeah, like that. And yeah, I want to take off this padding. We'll put the padding to 0. That's going to cause problems later on. Okay, so we got, you know, button-ish kind of things. Let's go ahead and get started by doing the next layer. So on this second item, I'm going to change physical to drop down, so that way we know which one we're working on. And right before I close the list item, I'm going to hit enter, because this next list is going to be technically inside of the list item here. So let's copy this. I probably still have it in my clipboard, but copy it anyway. What's after physical? Data, right? Data. Data. So we'll copy that and paste some of those guys in there. Refresh, and it looks terrible. You see. So we're going to save that. That's fine. I mean, it shows up, but it looks terrible. So here we're going to actually do a padding of 0 pix, margin 0 pix, save, refresh, see if that gets rid of that. We're going to do a display of block, because we want them to drop down. Oh, well, so we'll have to fix that. Let's copy that, because since it comes later than this line, then that makes the parent items do it as well. So let's do a drop down menu of any list item with an unordered list items. So any list item inside of an unordered list inside of another list item will display block. Save that, refresh. Yep, that's about right. Copy that. Let's paste that back in there. Any unordered list inside of a list item. Move out of the way, mouse. We'll have padding 0 pix, margin 0 pix. I'm not sure if it's doing it, but text. Well, let's see if it is. Save that. Refresh. Yeah, there we go. That's about right. I was going to do a text indent. Text indent 0 pix. It's not a bad idea to do it anyway. So we'll do that. Good. Now, problem is it's pushing its drop down, its button up. Let's get some text on this thing, like some text of the page. Let's go to my favorite website, slipsum.com/light. I don't know if it's my favorite website, but I do enjoy it. It's fun. So we want 5 paragraphs. We'd like some H2 tags. Don't put more than one H1 tag on a page. That is bad SEO. We would like some P tags. Copy that. Let's go back to the page. And let's go back to the index and right below this we're going to put the Samuel L. Ipsum text and refresh. And there's our Samuel L. Ipsum text. That's good. We're going to need that for reference because I want you to see what's going on. And let's go back up here to the menu and to the CSS. Alright, so we have an unordered list that happens to be inside of a list item anywhere. It's going to have a z index of +1, which makes it float above the page, and it'll float above the Samuel L. Ipsum text. But you can't do a z index without a position. So position absolute is what we're going to do there. Save that, refresh. Looky there, it's going over top of the text. Of course, we can't really read the text, but we'll deal with that later. That is fine. Now let's start by making another layer again. So let's change this data to drop down. We'll save that. Hit enter. Let's copy this a little bit right there. Put in our next unordered list. And after data is network. So we'll copy that, paste. Oops, that's enough. Save that, refresh. Now the network works, but it covers up the drop-down menu below it. The buttons below the drop-down, so we got to do a little CSS on that too. And the CSS is starting to get a little complex here. So we want to do LIUL. So this means any unordered list inside of a list item, inside an unordered list, inside of a list item that happens to be in drop-down menu will now move top of let's say -10 pix and left 80 pix. Now you're gonna have to experiment with this on your own, but that moves it to the right and moves it up, but it's not quite right. Let's put a border on this menu list item of border of 5 pix solid, and that should be black. Yeah. So it moved it to the right. That was good. We like that. But it moved it up. And the reason why that is because when you do a position absolute, it's going to position itself to the last non-static item. And by last non-static item would be this unordered list right here. So it positioned itself according to this unordered list and moved up 10 pixels. And that's what the -10 does. It says how much padding should be on the top, and I said -10, so that means it moves up a little bit and whatnot. So that's why the left 80 pixels means it put 80 pixels worth of padding on that left side, and that's why it actually floats right. So when you do the position, it floats in the opposite direction when you do the top and the left. So the fix to that is, let's go find our drop-down menu LI item, and we'll just position it. Position relative. That works. Hey, I misspelled position apparently. I do that a lot. There we go. Position relative. There we go. Now it's on the drop-down menu, and because this drop-down button is not static, then this whole unordered list will position itself according to the last non-static item, which would be this drop-down menu. And this should work in perpetuity. Let me move this a little bit more, this 90 pixels, so it's a little bit right. Yeah. This button doesn't quite line up. It's because I have this 5 pixel border now. So I want to do a we're going to do a left here of -5 pixels. Save that, refresh. Yeah. So that makes it line up quite right, because I had the 5-pixel border that I put on there, and that was throwing the whole thing off. Excellent. Excellent. So the next thing we got to do is we got to make this disappear, which is really easy. Any unordered list inside of a list item is display done. Save that, refresh. Oh, before we do that though, well, that's fine. We'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll copy this bit right here. Copy and paste. Curly braces, and then anytime that I hover over a list item, any unordered list inside of it should be display block. Alright, so we'll save that, refresh. When I mouse over this list item, there we go, displays block. When I mouse over this list item here, displays block. Let's try it with the 4th layer, just see what it'll do. Copy and we'll change this to drop down so we know which one we're working in. And paste that. 4th layer is transport. So now when I go here, drop down, yep. So it should work until 7 layers, and then I run out of terms to use. So there you go, that's how you make a drop-down menu. There's no styling to this bad boy or anything like that. Let's look at it in Internet Explorer, because Internet Explorer is a little wonky. Where's my... I've got it here somewhere. Internet Explorer, blank. And there we go. There it is in Internet Explorer. That's what it looks like. Looks pretty normal, but when I switch, let's minimize this window so you can see what's going on. Switch to classic mode. It does this, it doesn't like the inline block. So let's fix that with the inline block, because there's a specific code that you can do for old versions of Internet Explorer. And I'm talking Internet Explorer 8 and well, I don't know about before that. Nothing before Internet Explorer 8 supported anymore. So we'll do asterisk display block and zoom 1. Actually, I don't even know what happens when you don't do the zoom 1, but we'll save that. We'll refresh. Oh, where's my Internet Explorer? Refresh. Save that. And oh no, not display block. Display inline. That does it. Display inline. The other browsers will ignore that code, but Internet Explorer 8 will do just fine with it. Although it's still a little wonky. You need to work on the spacing. So because these other ones overlap it. So if I do a drop down menu LI UL and I do a where did I do a left negative pix top 10 pix, save, and I do a refresh. Yeah, I don't like that. What if I put an asterisk in front of it? Save, refresh, and there's Firefox. Let's refresh this. Well, I moved it down, so the trick is to do the little asterisk thing, because other browsers tend to ignore it, but the old versions of Internet Explorer will pay attention to it. Save that and refresh. kind of like that, but the buttons still overlap each other. You can't really fix that, but at least the browser's navigatable, and I use that by throwing this up on a separate server, and which shows this compatibility button. This is Internet Explorer 10 right here. Works like a champ. Although even Internet Explorer 10 is a little wonky, but there we go. That's how you build a pure CSS drop-down menu. And I didn't style it at all. I'm going to leave that for you to figure out, except for the yellow and the black borders. But thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the experience of this tutorial, why not share it with your friends?